What's up, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for another Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon update. In this video, I want to go over everything we know about House of the Dragon's upcoming third season. Now that we're right in the middle of the infamous Dance of the Dragons, all of the remaining episodes should be very exciting. As you all know, the destruction and downfall of House Targaryen has already begun. Now before we get started, I want to give a shout out to the Targaryen Loyalist social media account over on X who organized all of this information about House of the Dragon's third season. This upcoming season of House of the Dragon will have 8 episodes as well. And according to House of the Dragon's head writer and showrunner Ryan Condal, they are adapting 4 major events from George R. R. Martin's novel Fire and Blood. HBO has already confirmed Season 3 will open up with one of these major events, known as the infamous Battle in the Gullet, which was the bloodiest and deadliest sea battle in Westerosi history. We might see other major battles like the Fish Feed, the Butcher's Ball, and the first battle at Tumbleton. It's also very likely that one of the major big-budget sequences will be the fall of King's Landing, when Daemon and Rhaenyra take over the city and seize the Iron Throne. It has been confirmed that Ryan Condal did write the opening episode, as he has done for every other season thus far. Now, according to the writer and showrunner, Season 3 will feature a conceptual episode, likely focused on one individual character in the show. A Song of Ice and Fire fans assume this episode will largely focus on what's happening with Aegon, while many others believe it will highlight Daeron Targaryen's upcoming story. We're just gonna have to wait and see because that episode could feature any of the major characters in House of the Dragon. There's also going to be 3 brand new Valyrian steel items in the upcoming season, as well as a glass candle, something we never did see in the original show Game of Thrones. The new Valyrian steel swords we are sure to see are Vigilance, the ancestral blade of House Hightower, held by Lord Ormond Hightower, as well as the Orphan Maker, which will be carried by Sir Jon Roxton. Season 3 will feature the rise of Aegon's incredibly resilient dragon Sunfire. Aegon and his dragon Sunfire may have lost a battle at Rook's Rest, but they have not lost the war. Now, Daemon Targaryen and his dragon Caraxes are set to join the Riverlords and Northmen as they march south to confront the Hightower host led by Lord Ormond Hightower and Daeron Targaryen. Most of you have likely already seen photos of this in some of my recent videos. The market town of Tumbleton will be a new location where we will spend a significant amount of time. And other castles like Dragonstone, Harrenhal, and King's Landing will remain as our major locations in the series. It looks like we'll also see the infamous and mysterious Isle of Faces, a sacred island that sits right in the middle of the God's Eye. This actually has me very excited because I've always wanted to see this magical island, where the First Men and the Children of the Forest made an alliance thousands of years ago. Not only will we see the Isle of Faces, but we'll also see some of the green men who still inhabit that land. Now, we did already see a glimpse of them during the second season when Daemon had his visions inside the werewood net, but the new photos make me believe we might actually see them interact with one of our characters in the story. There have already been some rumors about Adam Valerion visiting the Isle of Faces this upcoming season. Maybe we will see him interact with the Green Men, or it might have something to do with the visions Aemon will have while he's at Harrenhal this season. I'm very excited and anxious to see how they will involve them in the story. I say that because there is a new leak that states Aemon One-Eye Targaryen will behead Sir Otto Hightower right in front of the Iron Throne during a hallucination scene. It says Aemon will also have hallucinations while he's staying at Harrenhal with the mysterious Alice Rivers. That scene will likely foreshadow the fate of Sir Otto Hightower. And I can't help but wonder if Alice Rivers will show Aemon how to see inside the werewood net as well. If you haven't read Fire and Blood, you're likely not very familiar with the relationship Aemon had with Alice Rivers near the end of the Dance of the Dragons. It all started when Aemon first arrived at Harrenhal, after Daemon had already left from behind the safety of its castle walls. As soon as Daemon received word about Aemon and his army heading his way, he decided to abandon Harrenhal for a much better target. We already know Aemon reached Harrenhal a day after Sir Criston Cole, and that night celebrated a great victory. Daemon and his river scum had fled rather than face him, he thought. He felt foolish after he realized what happened. When Aemon One-Eye learned about the fall of King's Landing, his anger was fearsome to behold. While he was arriving at Harrenhal, Daemon and Rhaenyra were securing the capital and its Iron Throne. So as you can imagine, Aemon unleashed his fury on everyone else. The first to suffer for it was Sir Simon Strong. Aemon One-Eye had no love for that ilk, and the haste with which he surrendered Harrenhal to Daemon Targaryen convinced him that the old man was a traitor. Now, Sir Simon did swear of his innocence, insisting that he was still a loyal servant of the crown. His own great-nephew Larys Strong was Lord of Harrenhal, and King Aegon's Master of Whisperers, he reminded Aemon. However, these denials only inflamed Aemon One-Eye even more. He already assumed Larys was a traitor himself, he decided. How else would Daemon and Rhaenyra have known when King's Landing was vulnerable? It seemed rather obvious that someone on the inside must have sent them word. And let us not forget how Sir Larys is Breakbone's brother, and thus an uncle to Rhaenyra's bastard sons. Aemond would go on to execute everyone at Harrenhal who had strong blood in their veins, as well as all the bastards. Every one of them except for Alys Rivers. Though the wet nurse was double his age, Aemond had taken her into his bed soon after taking Harrenhal. In fact, it's said that he liked Alys Rivers more than all the other women of the castle, including even the ones who look much better and much younger. As we all know, Aemond has always had a thing for older women. Alys Rivers might have even been the reason for why Aemond and Sir Criston Cole went their separate ways during the Dance of the Dragons. At Harrenhal, Aemond Targaryen and Sir Criston Cole debated how to best answer Rhaenyra's attacks. Not only were they losing battles, but their men started running short of food and fodder, and losing men and horses to hunger and sickness. Sir Criston Cole wanted them to march further south, where Aegon had more support, but Aemond hated that idea. He said only a craven runs from traitors. The loss of King's Landing and the Iron Throne made him very angry, and after word of the Fish Feed battle reached Harrenhal, Aemond damn near strangled the squire who delivered the message. Alys Rivers had to step in and save the boy's life. She seemed to be the only one who could get Aemond to listen. He favored an immediate attack upon King's Landing. He said Rhaenyra's dragons were no match for Vhagar. Sir Criston Cole said that was folly. 1 dragon against 6 was a fight for fools. Let them march south, he urged once more, and join their men with Lord Hightowers. Then Aemond could reunite with his brother Daeron and his dragon. King Aegon had escaped Rhaenyra's men, this they knew. Surely he would reclaim Sunfire and join his brothers eventually. And maybe their friends inside the city might find a way to free Helaena as well, so she could bring Dreamfire to the battle. 4 dragons might be able to win against 6, if one of them was Vhagar. However, once again, Aemond One-Eye Targaryen refused to consider this craven course. As regent for his brother, he might have commanded the Hand's obedience, yet he did not. Now, Grand Maester Munkin said he did this because he still had respect for the older man, while Mushroom suggested that the men had become rivals for the affections of the wet nurse Alys Rivers. Even Septunu Stace somewhat agreed with what Mushroom said, only he says it was Aemond alone who became obsessed with the Rivers woman, to such an extent that he could not bear the thought of leaving without her. Whatever the reason, Sir Criston Cole and Aemond decided to go their separate ways thereafter. Sir Criston Cole would take command of their army and lead them south to join Ormond Hightower and Daeron, while Aemond would fight his own war, raining fire on the traitors from the air. Sooner or later, Rhaenyra would send a dragon or 2 out to stop him, and Vhagar would destroy them, he thought. He insisted she would never send all of her dragons. That would obviously leave King's Landing naked and vulnerable. Nor will she risk her own dragon Syrax or that last son of hers. Rhaenyra might call herself a queen, but she has a woman's faint heart and a mother's fears. In the Riverlands, Sir Criston Cole abandoned Harrenhal, striking south along the western shore of the God's Eye, with 3,600 men behind him. Meanwhile, Aemond had already left the castle, flying on Vhagar. Harrenhal stood empty no more than 3 days before Lady Frey swooped down to seize it. Inside, she had found only Alys Rivers, the wet nurse, and the supposed witch who had warmed Daemon's bed during his days at Harrenhal, and now she claimed to be carrying his child. "I have the dragon's bastard in me," the woman said, as she stood naked in the godswood with one hand upon her swollen belly. "I can feel his fires licking inside me," Alys said. Nor was her babe the only fire kindled by Aemond Targaryen. No longer tied to the castle or army, the one-eyed prince was free to fly wherever he would. It was war as Aegon the Conqueror and his sister had once waged, fought with Dragonflame, as Vhagar descended from the autumn sky again and again, to lay waste to the lands and villages and castles of the River Lords. Now, with all that being said, I really hope the showrunner and writers faithfully adapt Fire and Blood, because this should be a very fun and exciting season of House of the Dragon. I already know they have made some changes, but I hope they at least follow the author's overall guideline of the story. This really is a make it or break it season for the show. As you all know, the fans are already disappointed with how the second season ended. Let me know what you think about everything down below. How many of you like the direction they're heading in? I'd love to hear what you have to say. Once again, I want to thank all of you for watching another video. I hope you have a great day. I will see you again very soon. Bye.